We acknowledge the territory of the Anishinaabeg Nation, the people of the Three Fires, known as Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations, and further give thanks to the Chippewas of Saugeen and the Chippewas of Nawash, known collectively as the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation, as the traditional keepers of this land. So miigwech, have a good day, and I'll turn it over to Daryl Cowell, who's our chairperson for the Sources of Knowledge. Daryl.
Thanks, Brian. You'll notice that I've changed my shirt. We discovered last night that Brian's colorblind. Claimed I was wearing an orange shirt, which my wife had picked out for me, which I love. And it's salmon. Miigwech, thank you for coming. I became chair in November of 2019. Welcome to the 2020 forum. I thought I might never have one, but thank you. And I want to thank you for your patience and our board, of course. But you guys, like some of you have signed up, many of you signed up in 2019 and left us your money. I had one ask me for interest, and I brought my penny jar. So anybody who wants a refund or wants interest, come out to my truck and I'll give you my 2 cents. So one thing about climate warming, climate change, since 2019, it's not gone away. And in fact, if anything, it's gotten worse. And you know, I've been involved. I was hired by Environment Canada in 1976, and we talked about climate change then. And in fact, I worked on a project in Northern Ontario that documented permafrost, occurrences of permafrost. So this thing is not new, and it's clearly getting worse, even since 2019. I'll point out, for example, very recently, Pakistan, 1/4 of the country was flooded. 1/4. Think of 1/4 of Ontario being flooded to the point where you can't live in your homes. Just think about that. Last year, of course, they had the massive floods out in the Fraser Valley, which basically cut the infrastructure and isolated Vancouver. It's already isolated, we know that, but isolated Vancouver from the rest of Canada. So this is real, it's strong, and it's getting worse. And you know, I listen to pundits on TV or radio or whatever, and they say they count hurricanes. Well, there was fewer hurricanes this year than there was in 1824. Therefore, it's not happening. It's the weight of the evidence. It's the weight of what's happening. It's not any individual meteorologists tell us. It's not, you can't point to a storm and say that's because of climate change. But it's the weight of the evidence, the melting permafrost, which I've seen. The ice pack in the Arctic gone, more or less. The constant floods throughout the globe, along with constant droughts. Like, it's incredible. So it's real, and it's not gone away. So this is extremely timely, this forum. I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. We're trying to avoid plastics. You know how hard it is to avoid plastic? So we're using reusable as to the degree we can. Please keep whatever cup or mug you've got for the duration. We will be washing them. There will be some plastic, for example, your beer, because we just don't have glass beer mugs. However, the ones you're getting have been washed, and I wash them personally, every one of them. So keep those as well if you use them. I will remind you that beer comes in glass. Just throw that out there. So you don't have to have the plastic glass. I'm not shaming anybody. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. A couple of other housekeeping things. I want to, this whole thing came about, it's very hard to run one in the fall because nobody gets focused until like the middle of September. And I want to thank Teresa Vogel, right back there in the corner, our administrator. Teresa, right there in the corner. She came on a month and a half ago, all right? So she's been swimming, as we all have, trying to catch up and figure out what we got to do for this. So she's done an amazing job on this. And I want to thank the subcommittee from the board, which is chaired by Glenn Estel, for having 3 programs. We had a 2020 program. We looked at a 2021 program. And then we came up with a 2022 program for May. Now here we are in October, and we now have another program, and it's worked out fine. So I want to thank everybody for your patience and our team, and I think I'm going to leave it at that, but I'm going to introduce somebody who you all know, and it's our mayor, Mayor Milt McKeever. Mayor. I asked him how many terms he served, and he said it's too early in the morning for me to... But I'll leave it at this. He's been mayor of the municipality of Northern Bruce Peninsula since it was amalgamated, and just re-elected. We couldn't invite anybody as mayor because up until 3 days ago, we didn't know who it was going to be. So at the last minute, we got a hold of Milt, and Milt, if you come up and just say a couple words on behalf of the municipality. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Daryl, and good morning, everyone. And certainly a pleasure to be here and bring greetings from the municipality. And elections are kind of funny things, and I'm never disappointed to see them behind me, of course. So, and I look forward to another 4 years. Daryl has mentioned, and it's great to see that Sources of Knowledge team is back on track again, and once again with another timely topic, and it always is. And as Daryl has indicated, I mean, it's evidence is there. Climate change is occurring, and all kinds of evidence. So with that, I just, actually, I want to thank some volunteers. There's a discussion tomorrow regarding the climate action plan for the municipality. And want to thank the volunteers that were involved in that program as well, and producing that document for us, and all some good information there and recommendations as well that I'm sure they'll be watching to ensure that we try to follow some of those recommendations. So, and you know, just with that as well, when you say climate change is real, and I always kind of, when you look globally, how nations are dealing with climate change. And some are, and some not so much. And so it's kind of disappointing to see that. And I just read recently where coal-fired generation, like it's alive and well. There's all kinds of new coal-fired energy plants being built. So hopefully those people will eventually come on track and help us deal with climate change. So I checked the list of speakers this morning, and all kinds of great speakers today, and my wife Bonnie and I, we're staying for the day and listen to all the speakers. So thank you.
I should say our next speaker was to be Chief Veronica Smith from the Chippewas of Nawash. Unfortunately, she hurt her back yesterday and can't be here today, but sends her her support for the program and thanks. And of course, she's very aware of climate change and very keen on playing a role. So we'll continue to work with her and the Saugeen Ojibwe Nation in the days ahead. But Glenn, do you want to introduce? I'll just carry on then. And our next speaker, as many of you know who have been involved in this forum for years, it began 13 years ago, 15 years ago, something like that, with a relationship with Parks Canada. And the idea was that the Parks is doing lots of interesting work, and they continue to do so, but we don't always know the details. We don't know what's going on. So the idea is to be able to share information on what the parks are doing, and to inform the local citizens of park activities. So right from the very beginning, it's been a joint initiative with the community members and Parks Canada. So at this point, I'd like to invite up to the stage our acting superintendent, Ethan Meleg. Ethan will bring greetings from Parks Canada. Morning, Ethan.
Thanks so much, Brian. Hopefully you can hear me okay. It is a bit muffly there, and hopefully it's a little bit better now. Greetings from Parks Canada. It's so exciting to be here today after a long hiatus for the event from COVID. Kudos to the Source of Knowledge team for keeping it going in the background, and so we could all be here today. It's awesome. As Brian mentioned, Parks Canada has been involved with this since the beginning, and we continue to sponsor the event, and we're so glad to see it continuing and to be here with you today. Really sad to see that Chief Smith isn't here today. The Saugeen and Ojibwe Nation are really important allies with Parks Canada as we work together to take care of the lands and waters of the peninsula. Brian, thanks for a great land acknowledgement there. We echo the same feelings. Climate change obviously is a very important issue, and that's why we're all here today. It's very timely, and Parks Canada has a plan in place, internally to address climate change issues. I'm looking forward to sharing that with you a bit later this morning, and just really glad to see the energy and the grassroots efforts taking place here to do everything we can locally. Thanks so much, and have a great forum.